The Midnight Express was no ordinary train. It was a luxury ride that promised an unforgettable journey through the majestic, snow-covered mountains. The train gleamed with opulence, velvet seats, chandeliers, and large windows framing the stunning winter landscape. But for those aboard, the trip would turn into something far more sinister. Rachel had booked her ticket for a simple getaway, a writer looking for peace and inspiration. She was drawn to the beauty and serenity of the mountains. The passengers were an eclectic mix: a businessman glued to his laptop, a honeymooning couple, a retired professor, and a young mother with her daughter. They were strangers with nothing in common but the promise of a luxurious escape. On the first night, the train glided effortlessly through the snow-draped peaks. A calm, mesmerizing ride. The passengers dined on gourmet meals, clinked glasses, and admired the snowflakes dancing outside. Rachel felt a strange sense of detachment, watching it all unfold like a scene from one of her novels. She noticed the train attendants all dressed impeccably, but something about them was off. They rarely spoke, their movements stiff and mechanical. But it wasn't until the next morning that things took a turn for the worse. As dawn broke, Rachel noticed something odd. The young mother, whom she had seen just the night before, was gone. Her seat was empty, her luggage untouched. No one seemed to know where she had gone. Rachel brushed it off, thinking maybe the woman was simply resting in her private cabin. But by lunchtime, the businessman was also missing. Whispers started to spread among the passengers. The honeymooning couple huddled together, glancing around nervously. The professor, once chatty, grew silent, his brow furrowed in thought. Rachel's stomach knotted with unease. Where were the missing passengers? Why hadn't anyone seen them leave? That evening, as the train thundered through an icy gorge, the lights flickered. The attendants moved through the car silently, their faces unreadable. Rachel, determined to get answers, cornered one of them and asked about the disappearances. The attendant merely smiled, a cold, empty gesture that sent a chill down her spine. She wasn't the only one growing suspicious. The retired professor, who had spent his career studying historical conspiracies, pulled Rachel aside. "There's something wrong with this train," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I've been researching the company that owns it. Years ago, there was an accident. An entire train vanished in these mountains, never to be found. The company buried the incident. But now, I think we're heading into the same trap." Panic spread like wildfire through the remaining passengers. They rushed to the doors, but they were locked, sealed tight. The windows were reinforced, impossible to break. There was no cell service, no way to communicate with the outside world. It was as if the train was deliberately isolating them. As night fell again, more passengers disappeared. It became clear that no one was leaving voluntarily. Whoever, or whatever, was behind this was picking them off one by one. Rachel and the professor formed a plan. They would find the control room and stop the train before it reached whatever ominous destination lay ahead. In the dead of night, they made their move. Creeping through the eerily silent train, they finally reached the engine room. But instead of finding a conductor, they found the truth. The train was on autopilot. There was no one driving it. The attendants were not human, but automatons, part of a long-forgotten experiment to create the perfect luxury train experience. Only, something had gone horribly wrong, and now the train was stuck in an endless loop, claiming its passengers as it hurtled toward the unknown. With time running out and the train speeding toward a mysterious tunnel that seemed to swallow all light, Rachel and the professor made a desperate decision. They pulled the emergency brakes, hoping it would be enough to stop the train. The train screeched and shuddered as sparks flew from the tracks. The passengers held their breath, waiting for the inevitable crash. But then, just as the train was about to enter the tunnel, it came to a grinding halt. The survivors stumbled out, cold and shaken, into the frozen wilderness. They had escaped the Midnight Express, but the truth of what they had uncovered would haunt them forever. The train company's dark history was only the beginning of something far more terrifying.